Yeah, and Devon, I'm really glad you brought up the passivity from Tyrese, the indecisiveness on offense, because I think certainly, and you said this as well, defensively it got you killed. Like, there were just too many moments where too late to X out, too late to rotate, too late to call a switch, whatever he needed to do. Strong and wrong is the thing that we preach here, that we keep saying, like, if you're going to be wrong, just do it quickly, and then other guys can rotate and get to their positions. But offensively, if you look at that moment where they're down and after Mitchell had made the free throws and Tyrese can go for either a tying shot or maybe you just play the possession game and say, okay, I'll go for a quick two. And you know that Cleveland will give you the quick two. You can get to the rim and score. They're not going to foul you, more than likely anyway. And Tyrese had the worst of both worlds. He did not make a decision one way or another when he brought the ball up the floor. He wasted precious time on the clock, and then he ends up settling for, a pretty terrible step-back three-point shot, which, look, if he hits it, everyone's like, oh, my God, Tyrese is a hero. We forget about all the other shots, and it's a big clutch moment and all that. But everything leading up to that was bad, was wrong. It's what you don't like about Tyrese when he has a bad game. You have to commit. You have to just, I know what I'm doing here. The whole reason that Nick Nurse doesn't call a timeout in that situation is to just trust the point guard to say, I know what needs to happen here. And either decision to me is fine. If you see an opportunity to pull for a three, if they back off you enough because they don't want to foul you, there's a shot there, go ahead. You're on the road. You're outmatched in a lot of ways against this team that's better than you as presently constructed without Joel Embiid available. Go ahead, take a three if that's what you're going to do. Don't take a three after burning valuable time off of the clock. That's where I think he really went wrong there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I see one from Alex McCoy in our chat says he was gassed. It's not hard to figure out. I think he's talking about Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
But there are ways to also, though, Alex, as you say that, he went 2 for 12 from 3. Get the other stuff. Again, because of who was defending him, how they were defending him. Yes, some of the length is going to bother him from time to time. But when you have George Niang on you, there's no reason not to at least get a pull-up. You don't have to settle for a three. You drive to the basket. If that's there, you see George is still there a little bit. George is going to ride you a little bit where you can get him on your hip and you might get a foul. Where if you're not making that shot, you might get 2 free throws in that regard. So that eliminates taking an extra 3 where you have to exert so much energy behind a three-point line because, as you pointed out, Alex, he might be gassed. He might be. But again, be a little bit smarter about how he does it. And the reason why we bring it up that way is because we have seen him be smarter about how he does it in those moments. Trusting, because we were looking at it, we were like, oh, no timeout. Nick Nurse is just going to let this one ride out. He's trusting his players. That's where you have faith, Alex, and you trust your players to go out there and do that. 44 minutes last game, 43 this game. Yes, I know, he's still 22, 23 years old, and that guy doesn't really get all that fatigue, but that's my point. Then don't shoot 12 threes, maybe shoot 8. And use those other 4 of driving to the basket. It's not like they're just swinging the ball. He's wide open saying, hey, this guy can't shoot. Let's stand back and let him fire away. No, that's not what they were doing. He was choosing to take those step backs and do that. Be a little bit more decisive of how to do it to conserve some of that energy.
That being said, I think there is something to be said for how many minutes he's playing and that it could be impacting his play. I do think this is a spot where the Pacers won tonight. The Heat won tonight.
The Heat won, by the way, by
a million.
60 points. 60 points. Franchise record.
And the Bulls lost. So, the 6th seed would be almost impossible. They're 2.5 down with 8 games left to play. The 7th seed is still sort of in play because you play Miami once and because you have an easy back-end schedule, Joe coming back, all that stuff. And the 9th seed, you can almost cross that one off. 4 ahead of the Bulls with 8 to play. They're not catching you. So if they get to a spot where they are pretty much locked into an 8 seed, I do hope Nick is pretty aggressive in giving Tyrese some, either nights off or low-minute nights to try to maybe get a little bit of his legs back. Because even when he's tired, he's going to be fast, he's going to be quick, he's not going to want to come out of the game, but you could see it on the jump shot. It could impact a jumper coming up short. You don't know if that's necessarily what happened tonight, but I do hope they are, like I said, pretty aggressive in trying to get him rest towards the end of the season if there's not much to play for.
Yeah, I think they got to look themselves in the mirror and say, what would Beyonce do?
Well, it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, with the 43 minutes that he played, Alex, I thought, just from the 4 minutes that Campaign played, it was like, where's Campaign? I know Kyle Lowry was playing better, but that's why you have the other guard to kind of offset that a little bit. And you got good minutes from Ricky Council, where maybe you steal a few more minutes from him too, just to give Tyrese Maxey a little bit of a rest where he's not going back-to-back 44, 43. Alex, I'm not trying to argue, man. I'm not trying to argue. We should have just played a little bit better. We should have just played a little bit better.
We all silly like the mayor.